If a DOP puts a camera in some place that I'm not okay with, I should be able to say, nahi, ye nahi chalega, mujhe nahi chahiye, without me seeming unprofessional.
We live in an interesting environment where movies are dealing with feedback from the audience and active changes being made to the edit of the film while it is still running in theaters. One of the horror stories with this phenomena was that an absolute gem like Miyadgan had trimmed 15 to 20 minutes of its narrative due to backlash from the audience of the 3-hour running time having lag. While there is a slippery slope to this kind of knee-jerk reaction to criticism, there are cases, and this is especially true for Telugu commercial cinema, where the sequences are downright disgusting and have been deleted from the final running time. If you remember the 2024 movie Double is Smart, there was a character by the name of Boka played by Ali, who was a tribal man from the Amazon jungle who is brought to India to learn the civilized way of living. He was described as a man who only knows how to hunt and sleep with women. He stares at women's breasts at first glance, and throughout the film fiddles an object that looked like the male genitalia to entice women. His entire purpose in the movie had nothing to do with the film's plot, but to showcase him physically harass women, all under the guise of comedy. This sequence was so heavily criticized that it was removed from the final edit while it was still running in theaters. With all the criticism that has been flung towards the romantic dynamic between Janhvi Kapoor and Ramcharan in Peddi, the director Buchi Babu just yesterday posted on X that after reviewing the feedback, they have decided to make changes to the concerned portions. There is not even a debate about the problematic tropes that were normalized in this movie. Janhvi Kapoor's character was inconsequential to the journey of Peddi. A confident daughter of a politician was presented in multiple shots primarily focusing on her body parts. What's absolutely wild about the film, and whoever has seen the movie will attest to this, is the moral hypocrisy that the film propagates. That the hero, leching, staring and ogling at the girl, sneaking into her house to kiss her without her consent, is also presented as her savior by protecting her honor when she is publicly disrobed. The confusing stance of carrying out assault while protecting the same victim from other abusers does not nullify what one did. The worst defense for a character like this is that they are from the village, are uneducated and don't know any better. Movies, while still being authentic to the rural landscape and not so progressive thought, can choose not to indulge in elements of stalking and harassment disguised as romance, especially when it does not impact the storyline at all. This entire subplot cannot be ignored because it is wild to the audience that there is no one on set who is believing that this is a red flag, that there is no realization that the audience has evolved and are critical of such themes. You and I have done countless number of Matlab Kuch Bhi episodes on these absolutely disgusting themes being normalized in movies, but there seems to be a persistent problem with Telugu cinema, assuming that these themes are routine features of commercial cinema, and there is an almost expectation that this is what the audience wants, and it's far from the truth. The reason why I say this is because loyal fans who step into theaters for the opening weekend can still disturbingly hoot and cheer for these kind of sequences. I've heard some disturbing stories of people watching Peddi and being surrounded by loyal fans who loved what they were seeing, but for a movie to travel beyond its loyal fan base, it has to be compelling from a narrative perspective, and Peddi was just not that. And when the aspiration is this pan-India success, there will be scrutiny that needs to be processed versus silenced. The subplot of Janhvi Kapoor has led to many debates taking place with respect to the portrayal of women in cinema and whether they have any say on how the final product is edited and presented to the public. I think there is a huge difference between sexiness with tact and just crass objectification, and this segregation I think it's important to acknowledge because there is a lot of whataboutery that happens when something like Janhvi's role in Peddi is criticized. The problem is never that women in cinema are scantily clad. The problem is not the bikini. The problem is the way you shoot the female body in context to the location and how the characters react to them. Janhvi presumably liked a post on Instagram that spoke about how disrespectful her portrayal was in this movie. The post claiming that she had communicated her discomfort of certain shots in the film and how the filmmaker went ahead with the edit they deemed fit anyway. While there has been no official acceptance or denial about the said claim, I think this is where the point of consent and influence becomes really important to understand. Let's not kid ourselves. Janhvi Kapoor is no struggler. Let's not be in this delusional world that she is in a position where she would be compelled to do something. She is in a position doing the biggest commercial movies, and if she personally feels uncomfortable, she can easily walk out of a project or disagree to do something without it affecting her future prospects in the industry. I think this is a very important point to acknowledge, because when you are struggling in the industry, do not have any safety net and just need visibility, you often say yes to projects that you may not align with creatively. This is a very interesting point that was being discussed on a roundtable a few years ago with Kangana Ranaut, and how she often in the initial phase of her career, when she did not have influence, said yes to projects because it was her way into the industry. People are craving for that one break, so you say yes, hoping that it may click while not always aligning with the themes of the movie. Janhvi Kapoor does not have the same problem. She has the privilege and influence to say no, but I think it's important to understand also the predicament that she finds herself in the film industry today. See, Janhvi has had an oscillating journey in the film industry, consistently being criticized for her dialogue delivery and pitch, but I personally have really liked some of her performances. I know this is an unpopular opinion because she is trolled so heavily online, but I actually liked her in Good Luck Jerry, Millie, and Mr. and Mrs. Mahi. There is a theory behind it that many of her projects benefit from her environment of supporting cast actors being phenomenal and it allowing for a cushioning of her performance. But beyond the technical aspects of the art form itself, Janhvi Kapoor, beyond her debut film, did not have one thing, and that is box office success. Param Sundari, the atrocity that it was, is considered to be an average grosser, but beyond that, she has mostly featured in digital releases. I personally believe that in the pursuit of commercial success and connecting with the theatre ticket buying audience, in the Telugu space especially, her pivot to commercial cinema was to hope and pray that she gets that credibility. It is usually beneficial, let's not kid ourselves about this, that well, she benefits from the legacy of her mother in Telugu cinema. A career spanning so many decades, there is almost a reverence and respect merely by association that she gets greeted with in the state because of the fond memories of the movies of Sridevi. But the contrast of roles with substance is shocking when you look at the work that she was doing in Hindi cinema and the work she did in Devara and Peddi. At least in Devara, the feeling of lust and agency was with the woman, yearning for Junior NTR's attention all the time, but again, having little to no consequence to the film storyline and mainly being cast for the viral Chuttamale song, which Janhvi herself says that she is proud of.
Enjoyed doing Gunjan Saxena, but I also enjoyed dancing in a song with Junior NTR, Chuttamale, and I didn't mind that my navel was showing. I like the multiplicity of what my skill set is.
The one thing that I do want to address before I come back to this topic again is that we live in a world today of constant stimulus on the internet, and we are subject to a lot of violence and content where real people have essentially become commodities for us that we swipe mindlessly for to get our dopamine fix. The disconnection lies in something like paparazzi videos, where we see a moral judgment on celebrities as viewers based on what they are wearing, where the manner in which the content gets published, taking lewd angles, zooming into their body parts, is not part of the consent. I've seen so many videos of female celebrities saying not to shoot their back, to not take a particular angle, to not publish a video where there has been a slip or a wardrobe malfunction, and the videos get posted anyway. That is where there is a clear invasion of privacy, and this is where the shots become predatory in nature, and I don't care if they call the paps to cover them. When there is no moral code amongst those pages, then the problem lies in who is capturing them versus those who are getting captured. The number of posts that I see on X, and Elon Musk is not doing anything to stop it, asking Grok to disrobe women or put them in provocative positions or clothes that are scantily clad is alarming. Janhvi had recently spoken about the case of deepfakes and being helpless in a situation where her face is being morphed into other bodies.
I feel like I don't have that much of a voice to complain about it as, say, someone who comes from not such a privileged Nepo background.
There is such shame associated with the privilege she has. She feels like she shouldn't say anything about her images being used like that. I disagree with such a stance because this is beyond the confines of privilege. It's basic human decency, and one should convey their gripes or anger with such elements being normalized. I criticized the hell out of the Nora Fatehi number that she did for a Kannada film recently. What however blows my mind is that Nora claimed that the thumbnail of her sitting on Sanjay Dutt's lap that circulated everywhere was AI generated. I call BS on the fact that she did not know the implications of the lyrics. But there are nuances to consent that need to be acknowledged, that you take responsibility for your association with something crass, but call out the makers for circulating your image in a pose that never happened. Coming back to the problem with Janhvi specifically, the problem is not the duplicity that you are doing a range of movies, those with characters who actually have significance in the plot of the film, and those that are mere eye candy. The point of acting is to do a range of roles. The problem is how regressive some of these portrayals are, and how even with influence you are compelled to do the routine and outdated, hoping and praying you get the end goal, which is box office success. I mean, I know celebrities' main source of income is not movies anymore. I mean, Janhvi's social media presence is so big, I know this is an assumption, but I know she's clocking in some insane numbers with brand deals, which may be her bread and butter, but come on. You don't need to do Peddi, it doesn't add any goodwill to your long journey ahead. See, I think the fault lies on many parties on how such things reach the big screen. Janhvi's ultimate faith in a movie like Peddi is less to do with the substance her character provides and more to do with the hope that she gets a commercial hit. There's no question about it. So you read the script, knew the character is pretty inconsequential to the plot and still did it. The responsibility there lies with you. Secondly, the forced kiss and justification of the assault is something you read and agreed upon, performed also. So how is it that you read it, perform it, and then came to the conclusion that it will sit right with the audience? There is something extremely messed up in three parties in this regard: Janhvi Kapoor, Ram Charan and the director Bucci Babu assuming that it was appropriate. This responsibility still lies with Janhvi. But finally, if the case is that Janhvi vehemently disagreed on some of the shots making the final cut and they made it anyway, then the fault lies on the makers for not sticking by an artist who was uncomfortable with certain images of her going out to the public the way they did. Something, however, is very clear. The power of influence and a huge monetary safety net lies with someone like Janhvi, who can make informed decisions, knowing very well that she will not have catastrophic career-ending consequences. And two, there is a lot of genuine introspection that a lot of Telugu commercial cinema filmmakers need to do on how romantic dynamics can exist, with basic concepts like decency, respect, and consent being pillars of romantic gestures. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you think about this entire controversy and drama. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handles are right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.